Good evening. This is Luke Thomas Holmquist here at the Earthquake Forecast Center. We're looking for a 6.3 earthquake in the San Francisco Bay during the next about 24 hours. We finally got the second peak that we've been waiting for, and I'll show that to you in a second here. All right, over on September 1st, we had a strong spike in risk in the San Francisco Bay, and that didn't produce much at all. I think it was like a 2.5 that hit on the 1st, and this is another one here on the 3rd. However, if you look at the Coalinga forecast here, this huge spike in risk here has the potential to produce a 6.3. The variance level is very strong on that. So we're going for a 6.3 as possible. It could be a smaller earthquake, but here's the latest forecast map and risk level. And you can see, if you look closely, here's San Francisco Bay. And this is the northwest portion of San Francisco Bay is the highest risk. However, this 6.3 that's possible during the next 24 hours could hit as far south as Coalinga or northwest Los Angeles. The highest risk, though, is up in northwest portion of the San Francisco Bay. And here it is. The risk peaks around 4 o'clock in the morning on September 4th, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning, which is coming up pretty soon. So let's look at the quake that hit here yesterday evening, late on the 2nd of September. And this is a foreshock, 3.8. And I believe the same area, this is northwest of Los Angeles near Ukiah, and they got a 3.4 in that same area as the 3.8 that hit yesterday evening, the 2nd. So that's where I believe this quake is most likely to hit, is northwest of San Francisco Bay. And it could hit up near Ukiah or up near San Rafael. But the highest risk is at northwest San Francisco Bay. Again, the risk extends all the way down to Coalinga and northwest Los Angeles. And this quake could hit anywhere along there, but most likely in the San Francisco Bay there. Strong earthquake during the next 24 hours. Here's that peak again, coming at about 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 to 4 o'clock in the morning in the San Francisco Bay. All right, let's look at some of the other forecasts here. And here's the Anchorage, Alaska forecast. This peak here produced a 4.7 southwest of Anchorage. This one could produce a 4.6 here on the 6th of September. And a much more significant quake could happen here on the 8th, late on the 8th and early in the morning of the 9th. 5.4 is possible in the Anchorage area. So that's where we're sitting here. These maps or these graphs can be seen over at quakeprediction.com. You can see that we were forecasting a 4.8 on that peak right there. And now that peak is right here. It was a 4.7. All right. And Coalinga, like we said, the 6.3 to 6.8 is possible. Right around 2 to 4 o'clock in the morning, tomorrow morning, September 4th. And then there's another strong spike in risk on the 5th, early in the morning. And then it gets very quiet after that. So sometimes you'll have 2 strong peaks. The first one will not release the energy and the second one will. And I think that's what's going to happen this time, coming up late tonight and early tomorrow morning on the 4th. Strong earthquake in California. And Eureka, well, this is El Centro down near the Salton Sea. 5.2 to 5.7 is possible near the Salton Sea, late tonight into tomorrow morning on the 4th. And Eureka, 4.5 is possible on September 5th. And that looks like in the afternoon on the 5th. Los Angeles, we have a spike in risk here on the late in the 3rd into the 4th, and this could produce a 3.5 to 4.5 in the Los Angeles area. It's corresponding with the risk level in Coalinga to San Francisco, where 6.3 to 6.8 is possible. And that's near Coalinga to San Francisco Bay. And here again is the San Francisco Bay forecast. The risk level, the variance is calling for 5.5 to 6.0. But as you can see, the Coalinga data is pointing to a 6.3 to 6.8. And the actual forecast map is pointing to the San Francisco Bay area. So could it hit in San Francisco Bay or Coalinga? But definitely a strong earthquake tonight into tomorrow morning in California. All right, let's look at Athens, Greece. This spike in risk here, we were thinking that it'd be a 5.7 quake. And it was actually a bunch of quakes happened just northwest of Athens, smaller than 4.0, but kind of a swarm of quakes hit northwest of Athens on this peak in risk. And this one here could produce a 5.1 on September 7th in the Athens, Greece area. And we have two, let's look at the Tokyo first here. We have two spikes in risk here that are very high risk in Tokyo, one on the 9th and one on the 11th. The one on the 11th in the Tokyo area could produce a 7.0. Some of the data that's coming in now says about a 6.3. So we'll look at that tomorrow, see if it's agreeing with that, but about a 6.3 to 7.0 is possible on the 11th in the morning. And the 9th could produce a 5.5 to 6.0. And the 4th here, this could produce a 4.0 to 5.0 on late in the 4th. In Sendai, Japan, we have that spike in risk late in the 4th here, and also on the 9th, a 7.0 is possible on the 9th or the 11th. So two strong peaks there in northeast Japan near Miyagi Prefecture and Iwate. The 9th and the 11th, the 7.0 is possible, and we'll give you a better idea of how strong this quake will be tomorrow when the new data comes in. All right, let's look at the San Francisco Bay once more. Here's the highest concentration of risk here, just northwest of San Francisco Bay. Looking for a 6.3 earthquake is possible in the San Francisco Bay during the next 24 hours today, the 3rd through the 4th. And it's most likely to occur northwest of San Francisco Bay, but could hit as far as northwest of Los Angeles or Coalinga. The graphs and the variance level is highest in the Coalinga area at 6.3 to 6.8. And the San Francisco Bay is 5.5 to 6.0. But this data is pointing to northwest San Francisco Bay. So something between a 5.5 and a 6.3 is likely in California during the next 24 hours, most likely between midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the morning, early in the morning on September 4th. All righty. Thanks again for joining us tonight. We expected that quake, or at least a foreshock, to hit on September 1st. We got a bunch of smaller quakes, and this spike in risk on the early in the morning of the 4th should now release that energy that's been built up in that area for the last couple of weeks as far as the data is concerned. When we begin to see the signals showing up was way back on August 16th, I believe. But it's finally coming together and should hit early in the morning on September 4th. Strong earthquake, and most likely in the San Francisco Bay. Thanks for your support, and we will talk to you after the earthquake, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you.